Welcome to the 2 Feet First Entrepreneur podcast. I am so excited and thrilled that you are here with me today. Before we get into this episode, though, I want to hurry and share that the automated assistant course that I have, the waitlist is now open. And just so you know, the course will be opening soon for enrollment. So make sure you jump on that waitlist because it only opens up a few times a year. And this course is to help content creating entrepreneurs gain back time in their business by using automation. And so I walk you through. There's 5 modules. I walk you through how to start using automation inside your business and how I do it in mine. And I give tons of examples and all the good stuff. So if you're interested in it, make sure you click the link that is below this podcast description, in the description below. But with that, let's get into this episode because I am so excited about today's episode. It is my favorite book for simplifying bookkeeping. And now, I made a goal for myself that I was going to read a business book every month for the whole year. And I have stuck to it. But I was finding that, yes, I am benefiting from it, but I want an open discussion around these books and these topics and get other ideas from other entrepreneurs. And so in a few months, I will be joined here for a book club with 2 other entrepreneurs, and we will be discussing the books that we're reading. And so I want you to join me on that. And so I'm going to start sharing with you the books that we're reading at the beginning of the month. And then at the end of the month, we will have that book club where we're going to discuss it. And it'll be here on this podcast and also on YouTube. If you join me over there, you can see everyone's lovely faces. So with that, we're getting back now to the book at hand. And today, we're talking about bookkeeping because bookkeeping can easily fall by the wayside if you're an entrepreneur, and it can also be overwhelming. There's a lot of things, especially if you talk to an accountant, it probably will overwhelm you. But it's critical to keep accurate records for your success in your business, but also for tax purposes. And so that is why today I am sharing the book called The Profit First. And this is by Mike Michalowicz. I believe I'm saying his name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. But you can look that up. I'll have a link to it in the description below as well. But we're going to hurry and talk about that book and how it has benefited my business and how it can benefit your business. Basically, what this book does, it provides tips on simplifying your bookkeeping process so that you can streamline your business finances. Okay. Doesn't that sound like a wonderful thing? Like make it super simple, like simplify as much as we can, right? So the way that this works is mainly with bank accounts, but we're going to kind of get into that in just a minute. Because this system will help you know exactly how much money you are making and losing each month without having to go talk to an accountant. And it helps you stay informed in business decisions and plan for big opportunities or big expenses that might be coming up. So like if you want to buy a computer, you can save for it because you know where everything's located and how much you have actually in your bank account. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat today. So why is this book called Profit First? Mike goes into this, but traditional accounting goes that it's sales minus expenses equals your profit. Okay, that's how all accounting normally is that you have your sales, so your income comes in, then you're going to minus your expenses, whatever they may be. And then whatever's left over is your profit. So this treats profit like it's an afterthought. It's not something that we're striving for. It's something that, well, if there's enough at the end, then I'll have a profit or potentially a loss. So what Profit First does is it flips this formula. So the way it flips it is that you have your sales minus your profit, and that gives you your expenses. Okay. So it's completely different where you're taking your income, minusing your profit. So you're paying yourself, you're getting your profit for the business, and then whatever's left over is your expenses. Okay. So this this book, Mike walks us through how to take profit first and spend only what remains on expenses, okay? So this is going to transform your business where you are not always hoping to have enough money in the bank account. Instead, you're going to have money in the bank account. You can save for those things and you actually get paid. I cannot tell you how important that is because you will get paid with this system because you're taking it first before expenses. And that is the important thing. So we're going to hurry and talk about Parkinson's law. Now, if you don't know what it is the demand for something expands to match its supply. Okay. So the demand of something will expand to match its supply. Now, there's different ways we're going to talk about this, but I'm going to hurry and just read what Mike says in the book because he says it beautifully for accounting reasons. And he says, when there is less, you will automatically run your business more frugally and you will find ways to get the same or better results with less. Taking your profit first, you'll be forced to think smarter and innovate more. Okay, so we're going to talk about this one more time. I'm going to hurry and repeat what it means, what Parkinson's law means. So it is the demand for something expands to match its supply. Okay, so for example, in our case with the expenses and the income. Okay, so your income is a certain amount, right? And if you allow your expenses to take all that income, it's going to expand to take all that income. You are going to find ways to spend that money, right? You'll start trying to justify, well, this is a need, when really is it a need? But if you do it opposite, and that's what this book focuses on, is changing Parkinson's law so you give it less, okay? So what you would do is you would take the income minus the profit, and that is what's left. And that's what your expenses will fill rather than filling the whole portion of expenses and profit. So I hope you're seeing the vision of that, the picture of that, and just how that's working in this sense. This can also apply to your time. And it can apply to so many other things. I mean, let's think about it. When you were in school, you get a deadline, right, for a project. If you're given a deadline of 2 weeks, some people are really gung-ho and get it done super quick, but there's the other people, I was one of these people, that would put it off or, do a little bit here and there because guess what? I have lots of time. So it's going to expand into that time where it could have taken me 2 days to finish. It took me the 2 weeks to finish. Okay. So that is what this is all talking about. We could go more into the profit side of this, and the book does talk about that, how to really make sure that you are getting all the profit that you can out of your business. But I today want to talk about the simple system in keeping financial records, also known as bookkeeping. Okay, so that's what we're really going to focus on today, is the system that he shares with you to keep your bookkeeping in check. Okay, so if you want to know more about the profit side of it, how to cut expenses, because he goes into all that kind of stuff, make sure you read the book. And I'm still going to encourage you to read the book no matter what, but hopefully this gets you excited about it. Now, what is bookkeeping and why is it important to entrepreneurs? Bookkeeping, as we all probably know, is keeping track of your business's financial transactions. So that is your income that comes in and your expenses. And with that, it can be so many other things, but those are the two basics, right? Those are really what it is, income and expenses. So it's keeping track of what's coming in and what's going out. It's important because it provides valuable insight into your business's finances. And this will help you make more informed decisions as if you can afford something or hire someone or buy that software that you've wanted or that computer that you want, or, maybe you know what you need to save for something. So it just helps you see the big picture so you don't get stuck in a spot where you don't have enough money. Bookkeeping can be less overwhelming by using the profit first method, which the profit first method is not anything new, okay? It is actually using the envelope system, but applying it to the business and making it modern with bank accounts. So if you don't know what the envelope system is a way to easily track exactly how much money you have in each budgeted category for the month by putting money tucked away in an envelope. So this is what probably your grandparents did, maybe even your parents. Maybe you've even tried it before too, because Dave Ramsey's recommends this, and there's lots of other financial people that recommend doing it. And it works. So how do you use the envelope system? First off, you need to determine the categories. And these categories can be many different things. If it's personal stuff, right, it's going to be food, it's going to be mortgage, it's going to be whatever your expenses are. With business, it's the same thing. We have business expenses, and we'll talk about what those categories that are recommended in just a minute. And then what you do is you set the budget that you need for each. So you need to determine how much you want to spend on each category. Next, you move money into those envelopes after you get paid. So you would know exactly how much needs to go into each envelope. And then you only spend what's in the envelope for that category. That's all you're allowed to spend. Okay? So let's talk about setting this up inside your business using the profit first method. Okay? First, you're going to set up your envelopes. But in this case, they are actually going to be bank accounts. And Mike talks about different types of bank accounts because some of bank accounts don't allow you to fully do this without fees. But he recommends that most credit unions do. And that's actually what I use, is I have a credit union that does this for me. So you're going to set up your bank accounts through probably a credit union. And there are going to be different categories, right? So there's going to be 5 accounts that you're really going to start off with that is recommended for your business. The first one is going to be income, which is where all the income that you make inside your business goes into this account. After that, you're going to have a profit account, and then you're going to have an owner's comp, which is where you get paid, the tax account, and an operating expense. And Mike goes into other accounts that you can have. Some of them are in advanced settings. Sometimes he also likes you to have 2 that you put away and you don't see, which is for the profit and the tax one. But just to simplify things, I'm just going to recommend 5 to get started. That's actually all that I have because I do have control over myself. I'm not taking money out of the tax and out of the profit to use it for expenses. So that's mainly the key of why he's saying that you should also have 2 more that you don't see, because then you're not tempted. And then after you have these accounts set up, you're going to determine the categories or the budget. And in this case, they're going to be a percentage, okay? And the book goes into details on determining what your percentages should be and what you probably should be spending on yours. And that is in chapter 4 and 5 of the book. So make sure you read through that, because everybody's everybody's category percentages are going to be slightly different. And he does have recommendations or where to kind of shoot for. And he also talks about that at the beginning, you might not be able to reach those. So you'll have, he calls it a tap. I think that's what it's called, a tap, something like that, where you're going to strive to reach that. So it's your target. So it's a tap. It's your target percentage that you're going to start building up to. So you're going to start with your beginner and work towards the tap, which is your target. And so I'm going to hurry and share what mine are. So income obviously doesn't have a percentage because everything comes into it. So that's 100% going into that. After that, I have my profit, and my profit is 5% of my income. And then my owner's comp is 40%. My tax is 15%. My operation expense is 40%. But my target percentage for my owner's comp is actually 45%. And then that would make my expenses go down to 45 as well. So see how I have my targeted one is going to be that. So I need to get there, I need to drop some of my expenses to be able to get to that 45% for my owner's comp. Oh, and I guess I lied. My operating expense, my math was off there, should be 35%, not 45%. I was off on that. So please don't do the math and see that I was wrong, because I was wrong. But that's what it is, okay? So owner's comp is going to be 45 and expense is going to be 35. And once you set all those, and you will name them actually in your bank account, the name of the account will say the title. So it's either going to say, for example, profit, and then your percentage. And you can put in there too the TAP 1 percentage that you want to reach. And after you get paid, so we're going to hurry and talk about how you make the transfers and how this all kind of works together. So once a month or twice a month, however you want to do your accounting software, your accounting system is how you're going to determine if you're doing once a month or twice a month. I personally do once a month because my VAs, my independent contractors, they invoice me once a month. And so I only want to get on there once a month to go through this. It's a good idea to probably do it twice. That way you have a good idea of where you're at. But I find that most of my expenses, I don't really add to my expenses really at all, but I have a really good idea of where everything's at. So I only need to do it once a month. Before, when I first started, I did do it twice a month because I needed to get into the flow of it and understanding of it. But now I only do it once a month. And it takes me about half hour to an hour to do my bookkeeping for the whole month. Okay. So at the first of the month for me, I will get onto my bank account and I will see how much income I have in the income account. From there, I will distribute that based on the percentages. And so the way that I actually do this, I have a spreadsheet. It's a Google spreadsheet. I'm trying to pull it up here so I can actually tell you exactly how it kind of looks. And the way it looks is I have different months at the top, and I will record this. Actually, let me hurry and record it so you can see it. So if you're listening on the podcast, I'm going to hurry and explain it to you. But if you're on YouTube, or if you want to see this on YouTube, I am showing what the spreadsheet looks like. Okay. So I have it's called my bank wage breakdown parentheses profit first is the tab that I have in my Google sheet. From there, at the very top, I have my different quarters and months inside those quarters. On the left-hand side, it breaks it down for total income. I always have to make sure that I leave a certain amount into my bank account or I get fined for things. So it also does that for me. And then I have profit, tax, operating expense, and owner compensation, plus some other little things on here for myself. Okay. And there's other things of wages breakdown that I have at the bottom, which is just an added feature that I do. You don't have to do that. So ignore that if you are on YouTube. The main part is the top part. So what I would do is I'd get onto my bank account. I would see how much income I have for the month. So let's say I have 5,000 and I'm just doing this in May, even though it's not May. But so I have 5,000 and then it subtracts for me what I need to leave in my bank account, which in my case is $100. And so after that, it automatically does the calculations for me of the percentages. That's why I like doing this in Google Sheets, because I don't have to do any of the math and it does it all for me. All I have to do is enter in the total income at the top, and then it shows me what I need to do after that. So after that, it shows me my profit, my tax, my expenses, and my compensation. So what I would do then is inside my bank account, I would go to the transfer area and I would transfer from the income to the profit. And in this case, I'd be transferring $73.50 into the profit account. And I would keep going down this list to transfer each thing into where it needs to be. And it looks like my percentages are not the same on this spreadsheet as they actually are in my business. So this is just a template that I'm sharing with you. So just note that my percentages are not completely accurate. If you do the math, that was for 3%, not 5% for the profit. So that's kind of how that works inside of my business and how you can take it into yours and apply it. So if you are interested though, in the spreadsheet, please reach out to me. I have been debating on if I'm going to start sharing that to people. It is something that more people need to know about and use because it's a super simple software program. It's free. It doesn't cost people anything and very easy to implement into your own business. And I'm thinking in a couple weeks, I might show more of a talk through on how I do that. But we're just going to kind of leave it with that on how that works. And so if you're interested in it, be sure to DM me on Instagram and we can chat about it. So how will this help your business? How will this system actually help your business? What it's going to do is it's going to help you be able to cut expenses because you're actually going to see that you're spending way more than you need to be or should be spending in your business. And that'll allow you to have a bigger profit, right? So you'll have a profit and not a loss anymore. And it's also going to simplify how you do your accounting because you're going to know how much is in each bank account. And I didn't mention this too with it, but the way it works is so all your income goes into the income bank account. All your expenses are going to come out of that expense account. So you have no other solution. You have just one amount. There's not the full amount that you're seeing in that account or, you're only can afford, let's say, $1,000 where you might have more in other accounts, okay? So it's going to help you not have a loss because you're still going to have the profit in a different bank account. And you're going to know exactly where you are financially. And at tax time, you are going to have taxes. You are going to have money for taxes. You're not going to sit down and say, well, how am I going to afford my taxes because I didn't save anything for the whole year. I just spent everything. You're not going to be in that position anymore. And if you do eventually advance up your business, so I'm hoping that you have an LLC for your business just to protect you inside of that reasons. And we can get on a whole nother conversation about that. But once you have that, you're starting out as a sole entrepreneur. The next step from there is an S Corp. And that's actually what I do inside of my business. So I have to pay myself a wage, a salary. And so taxes are coming out of my paycheck for that. And the way that works too is that the business will pay me back the taxes on that. So make sure that you're saving money so that you can pay yourself back on taxes, but also pay the government when you need to pay the government. And I just want you to remember that bookkeeping is important, but it should never be overlooked. And we normally do because running a business is very difficult and there's so many different steps and things that we have to do, so much content that you have to create, so many things that you have to share. But accounting and accounting and bookkeeping are very important. It's something you should never overlook. I have my parents, for example, they're getting a little better, but normally about February, they are scrambling to do their taxes for the previous year. And that means entering everything in that happened for the year and trying to make sure they don't miss anything and trying to get it into the accountant in time because by the time they get it done, it's almost a deadline. So I just want to encourage you not to be like that, to actually start using a system that you can track your expenses, write it down. That way you can show either your accountant if that's how you're doing it, or you can use a spreadsheet to enter it in. And you also are using the bank accounts to make it easy to see how much money you have in the bank account. And you are actually paying yourself. I cannot tell you how important that is, because when I first started, and I know that there's a certain point that you do have to basically put all your profit back into your business. But once you reach that point, and I found it to be about $1,000 a month, and that was before I did profit first. So if I would have been doing profit first, it would have been sooner. When I was making a profit of $1,000 a month is when I started paying myself. And I wish that it would have been sooner, because it makes it feel like it's like you feel good that you're doing this. You're actually getting paid. There's a reward behind it. And so I encourage you to start profit first today and actually start paying yourself, because you should be rewarded for the work that you're doing. It makes it all worth it. Yes, it's lovely helping people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love helping people. If you talk to me, I'll be like, yeah, let's sit down and chat, because guess what? I just want to help people. That's something that I really, really like to do. But when it comes down to it, you are a business, you have expenses, and you do need to get paid. And you wouldn't expect, if you worked for another company, to not get an income, right? You're not going to get paid. That wouldn't go for you. And so why should it go for you inside your business? You should be paying yourself, because you deserve it. So remember that and start using profit first. And I invite you to read it, to start looking at it, start researching it, whatever you need to do to start using it today. And if you have any questions or feel like you want more information on the topic of finances or profit first, be sure to DM me on Instagram at TFF Entrepreneur. And I want to hurry and mention too, is the book that I'll be discussing next month with you guys. It's called Show Your Work. And it's about 10 ways to share your creativity and get discovered on different platforms. So we're going to be discussing that one next week. It's a very small book. I showed it on the video if you're on YouTube. It's super, super small. So it's an easy one to get through. It wouldn't take very long. Yes, it says it's 215 pages, but it's about half the size of a regular book. So make sure you check that one out to start reading that with me for next month. And with that, I will see you next time for more tips on enhancing your business.